From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We're asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you, God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims. Well, hey guys, I hope you guys are having a wonderful Wednesday. Happy hump day. We kind of started off with a bang. I've got a lot more information about the topic that we were over this morning that we will be going over tomorrow. So we'll be going over more information about the attempted assassination of former President Trump. And we've got a little bit more videos and things of that nature. A couple housekeeping items before we get started. Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you on Bullhorn Betty. I cover true crime. We are covering the case of Sebastian Rogers, which is a 15-year-old autistic boy that disappeared from his home on February 26th and has not been seen or heard from since. Good evening, Karen. It's nice to see you. Me and you, Stephanie, Vicky. It's nice to see you. Robin. Great to see you as well. We got Chaos in the house. Nice to see you, Lisa. Rusty, it's nice to see you as well. Kendra, Rebecca. Oh, Unicorn, I hope you're feeling better, honey. I know you haven't been feeling well. Wookie. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Hopefully I didn't butcher it. Danielle, Latrice, Connie, it's nice to see you up in the house. I'm here. I'm barely here. It was one of those things. Michael, it's nice to see you. Alana, Shar, GLB, Texas. I'm going to stop right there for a second. I got to tell you guys a quick story before we go any further, because you just heard squirt, right? I don't know. I called Chronicle of Olivia's dog, demon dog. I don't know. My dog today, man. I think somebody put some go-go juice in her or something. Holy smokes. This child was there. This dog, puppy was, whatever you guys want to call it. This fur kid was bouncing off the friggin' walls. I'm completely eaten up with mosquitoes right now because I had to take her for a walk. And I didn't put anything on me. I put something on her. I put Skin So Soft on her. And just a little bit. And I didn't even think about me. I put gloves on, kind of like that oil crap all over me. And I just got, ugh. Anyways, long story short, she was finally asleep. She was calm, right? It's like, right? She was calm after using me as a jungle gym for like 4 solid hours. And I was getting ready for this live and I had to get up and go get a soda. She wakes up. Now she's awake. I just want to let you know she's awake. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. She might be bouncing off the wall. She might be using me as a jungle gym. I don't know. Okay. She's awake. I'm just letting you guys know. Anyways, it's nice to see you guys this evening. It has been a crazy day for me, especially with her and having to just, I don't know what was wrong with her. Did somebody like come into my house and like, you know, inject her with some espresso? Because I'm telling you, she was a bouncing bean today. I don't know what got into her, but she was a bouncing bean. I'm going to say hi to everybody collectively because we've got 220 people in the chat right now. So it's nice to see everybody. Linda, Robin, Tulips. It's great having everybody that has come in to get some. Oh, Tony, it's nice to see you. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you. A couple housekeeping items real quick before we get started. Actually, it reminds me of it. So we actually had a lot of people coming out on, I tried to explain what had happened with the whole search and everything like that. And of course, the news either had a misunderstanding. Okay. Even though it was clear, it wasn't a misunderstanding between the search team and the news reporter. It was a misunderstanding from news reporter to news reporter, apparently. And so I got some clips. I just wanted to clear everything up for people out there about what happened and what transpired. And, just so everybody's clear, because it sounds like, naturally, if anything happens, they blame Seth and Tony, right? They don't bother getting any information. It's all about, whatever, you know how it goes on these streets. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But either way, we want to show receipts, and I think there's no other way to show receipts about what transpired than just letting you guys listen to what transpired, you know?
Hey, Tom. Me, Jamie Vaughn, News 2. Just wanted to clear up any misunderstanding in our phone conversation yesterday about the items in the search on the water. You were very, very clear to me that those items were looked at and cleared and not related to the Sebastian case. Sorry that didn't come through in our short story that we ran just as a quick update yesterday. Hope that helps. Bye.
Okay, and then Tony was gracious enough to send me the message that he got from her as well. So here's this one.
Hi, Tony. Jamie Vaughn from News 2. Just wanted to clear up any misinformation that we have always reached out to you and Seth. You guys did not reach out to us last week or this week for the follow-up search story. And we have reported on the items of interest in great detail and updated the search on the water. And we reached out to you guys for that information and continue to call police daily for updates, as well as check in with you and Seth on a regular basis. Thanks. Bye.
So, it's sad that we have to get to this point where we have to have reporters provide receipts, on these platforms instead of just people understanding what's going on and quit trying to do underhanded crap, right? I mean, it would just be so much easier if people just got their facts together prior to, assuming the absolute worst. So for everybody out there in La La Land, there's your receipts, okay? And if you don't think it's her for everything that's holy, go listen to one of her news clips, compare voices, do whatever you guys need to do. It's legit. I don't know what else to say. It's legit, right? So everything is there were things on the water that were looked at, but they were cleared. So even though they were items of interest, they were done. They checked them out and they cleared them, and they weren't anything that was related to Sebastian, which is, in all fairness, isn't a bad thing. Again, Seth believes his son is out there somewhere. This helps solidify that for Seth. We haven't been able to find him. They were in the waters. They were looking, you know, according to where the PI sent them on these searches, and it's just getting to the point where it's almost getting, and like Mike said, redonkulous, I mean, and if you guys noticed, I got some new red frames. I'm so happy my red frames came in. I don't know what it is, but I like the red frames. I love the black frames too. I love black, but I there's something about the red frames I love. So I'm really thankful that I got my red frames back. So yay. Yay. It just sucks I have to buy 6 pair to get the pair I want. I got 3 pair that are really, really light. I don't like light glasses on my face. I don't know what it is. I just don't like them. I just don't like them. There's also another thing going on. As many of you know, for those that are just coming in, I'm going to be running a protest at Sumner County Sheriff's Department. This is going to be, I don't even know if we should really call it a protest. I mean, we're going to be, raising our voice. We're going to be raising our signs. They're going to be nice signs. They're not going to be condemnation. So if you guys are coming out and making your own signs, we're coming from a place of love here, right? We're coming from a place of, we want answers. Seth wants answers. We need to try to get some things accomplished. Some of our goals of this protest is just to get communication going with the community, with Seth. We're going to be demanding that Seth be cleared so he can bring in an outside resource for him, not for law enforcement, for Seth. And, in all fairness, law enforcement is keeping him on the hook for one of 2 reasons. Either they don't want this third party coming in, which is the Cold Case Foundation, Chris McDonough, or they don't want to put shine a spotlight on Chris and Katie, making their job a little more difficult with them. But that's just, in my opinion, not fair and not a good enough excuse, We also want to demand forensics be done. They have probable cause to do forensics. And, maybe a little law education might help. I don't know, And so depending on how many people are going to be coming out, we're going to be, getting a cake. Typically what we do is if we're there, we'll have some cake or whatever. And whatever's left over, we take into law enforcement with whatever drinks, we have left over so they can kind of enjoy it. We're not beating up cops here. Okay. We're not beating up Chris and Katie here. And it really upset me that there was one content creator on TikTok that was literally trying to, in my opinion, thwart the efforts and try to make people yeah, I know, I got the news. Thank you, Turtle Madness. Just for everybody in the chat, it is with sad news that Caleb Harris was the one that was found in the what was it, the lift station. Okay. And the county workers found him and everything like that. It was to the point where they had to do some DNA testing before they could determine who it was. And so we are learning. And again, it's with sad news. We want to keep the Harris family in our thoughts and prayers this evening as they are learning that the person in that lift station was Caleb. And it's bittersweet because they've had a long road of probably some just really exhaustion and exhausting nights and worry. And, this is not going to change anything. It's not going to bring Caleb back. It's not going to change their pain. But hopefully they can have some healing in knowing what happened to their son and knowing that he is now with the Lord. And apparently they're very religious. So again, just keep them in your thoughts and prayers because it was Caleb. So I haven't heard anything as to the cause of death. If from what I'm hearing is there's no way he put himself there.
So that's what I heard back then, when they found him. So that was pre-autopsy and all this other stuff. So, I'm speaking of a place of ignorance when it comes there. I don't know, I just heard that this is a place that he couldn't have gotten into himself. So I guess, just in the few days, weeks ahead, we should be finding out a little bit more information about that. Good evening, Crystal, Peggy, B. Betty, my mod squad. I think there's so many people that are just dropped down. So, anyways, I felt like somebody was kind of deterring this. So, if you guys are religious and don't want to hear a cuss word, now would be a time to go get yourself a drink, use the bathroom, get yourself a little bite to eat, because I kind of went on a 4-minute complaint session. And it was a little rough because, in all fairness, Stephen Crabtree was crying. Okay. He was on a TikTok and he really sounded a little emotional for a guy. Okay. I'm sorry. I come from old school. Okay. I'm old school where guys don't really cry. I'm sorry. And he wasn't crying like tears going down his face, but I mean, he was just really, being kind of, this is going to sound sexist. I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend anybody, but I just talk the way I talk. He sounded like a girl. Okay. And it's not, I've already talked to him tonight, so I don't want to rehatch any more problematic feelings or anything like that. Right. Becky said, who just said, what was Barb? She said, I hope you're doing okay today. Are you kidding me? My freaking puppy is bouncing off the walls. She's finally settled down. Like, I'm doing great. Oops. Don't wake up. Whatever you do, don't wake up. So anyways, I'm just like, well, so I just simply said, I did on that one live that we did. I think it was on Crime Stories. It might have been on Crime Stories. It might have been on the main channel. I can't remember. I bounce around from channel to channel. Okay, in all honesty. But I just pretty much said, like, it's not about you, it's not about you. Nobody's like, they're not thinking about me. I doubt they're thinking about you. They're definitely not trying to step on your toes. Like, it was really like all about him. Like this search should have been checked and balanced through this Stephen Crabtree guy. And no offense, but I've watched him a couple times, and every time I watch him, he's always backtracking BS, because he never fact checks anything before he opens his mouth. In all fairness, and this is not being mean. You're going to hear me being mean. So I'm just telling you, this is not me being mean. Sonia, you need to go take the dogs for a walk for about 4 minutes. Okay. Poor Sonia. I know she prays for me every day, but she knows I love God. She knows I'm a good, I just cuss a lot. I'm working on it. People are praying for me. I even have Turkey Man praying for me. Okay, I just letting you know. I got prayers coming. We're working on it, but sometimes it's a little harder than other days. Okay, remember, half holy, half hood. Just the hood pops out of my mouth every now and again. Okay, so that's what happened today. But I figured before you guys saw it online, I should let you know what happened. I did post it as a video, but I am going to let you guys listen to it. I was not nice. I did go on Stephen Crabtree. He went live to complain about it. And I went and soft, but was a little more diplomatic. Okay. And I explained myself really well about why we're doing what we're doing. But I have to be honest with you. It really kind of got under my skin. Like, how dare him try to throw shade on what we're going to be doing at Sumner County. It needs to be done. Sumner County should have had a public information officer. They don't have a public information officer. They're not talking to their community. They're not, and it's not that they need to tell. Listen, everybody's like, they don't have to tell you. Look, they are public servants. So let's get off this. Nobody is owed anything. Okay. They're public servants. We are owed something, whether it's just a thing saying how many leads they got, something to set the community at ease. Because let me tell you, it was the community that reached out to me. It was several people in the community that actually lived there that reached out to me. Okay. So I made the decision to put this on, and that's my decision to have. And anybody wants to participate can participate. And if you don't, then don't. I'm going to be getting signs made, professional signs, just, little cheap, but at least stuff that we don't have to color. I want everybody to bring their own signs. If we have signs there, you can put your sign away and use one of those signs. But I can only probably afford maybe 20 of these things. So I'm trying to find somebody that would do it like for cost or something like that, but I don't know. I don't know who's all out there that does signs. If you do signs or willing to help me out with them, reach out to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, where I've got like 4 sayings. They're not condemnation toward law enforcement. They're not condemnation toward the Proudfoots. This is about Sebastian and getting stuff done for him. And that's going to be our focus, and it's going to be from a place of love. It's going to be from a place of love. But even if it's a place of love, it's still loud, and it still has signs, and it still has people. So it really kind of upset me that he was kind of stepping on that, because we need to do this. We need to find out why they have not done forensics. We need to find out why they're not clearing Seth. We need to find out why they will not let, because the Cold Case Foundation won't get involved until a parent is cleared. Okay. We got problems. So I got no hope for these folks over here. Okay. So Seth needs to be cleared so that third, and again, they may not want the resource. And I understand that. But holding a noose around a innocent father's neck and shackling him, it's problematic for me, just a little bit. Okay. But we just want to get, people are saying that it's not going to do anything. Well, if we don't do anything, we know 100% nothing will get done. Right. But if we do this, we know we have a 50-50 shot at something being accomplished by it. So that's why I chose to do it. And before you guys back me up, I don't want you guys arguing with people about this conversation, because it's going to be brought up. So I want you guys to hear it. So, you don't need to stick up for me. I'm a big girl. I can do bad all by myself. And so I figured I'd let you guys hear what I had to say. And again, it was Bullhorn Betty pissed off. Don't know what else to say. Okay. Don't know what else to say. I own it.
So I'm listening to some stuff on TikTok related to Sebastian Rogers.
Well, I mean,
and this numbnuts that actually thinks everything's always about him. Seth and Tony went out and did searches. And then he started crying like a little bee here on this platform. And I'm talking about Stephen Crabtree. And it's like, I don't talk about the guy, right? I just told him that because I heard him crying on one of these channels with these ladies. I mean, he looked pathetic, okay, to be honest with you. So I just simply said, dude, it's not about you. It's not about you. First of all, the people that reached out to me first was Barbecue Lady and that one whatever lady that was, right? Obviously, you guys see why I don't hang out with chicks, right? Because of the way chicks act, right? So it's hard to work with them because they're so damn emotional. I'm not emotional. I'm a very blunt lady. So I just basically tell the guy, look, it's not about you. They're out searching. He didn't even know where they were searching, but he was crying like, oh, this was a dig to him. And I was just trying to tell him it ain't a dig to him, but now he wants to dig at me. First of all, the people that actually reached out to me that were going to pay for my plane ticket and stuff like that, they wanted me to come out there and protest Sumner County Sheriff's Department. That's Barbecue Lady, the chicks that she runs with, all these people kept saying, we need to bring the bullhorn. We need to bring the bullhorn. I said, we don't go there yet, right?
First, we do fact finding, we do searches, we do other things. It's not always about the bullhorn. But the problem is here, they ain't bringing the boy home. They ain't having no type of conversation. So, Stephen, sit your ass down, boy. Don't make me sit you down. Sit your ass down. First and foremost, we are doing a protest at Sumner County Sheriff because it's our constitutional right, which I understand a lot of people on this platform don't like those constitutional rights, right? But people utilize them, and they're utilized for a purpose. It's done on public property in a public location. I've been doing this stuff for years, and nobody seems to have a problem except Bitch Boy now is out here running his trap about what we're doing. So let me tell you a newsflash, okay? Go back to putting your phone towers up. Get out of true crime. You're not good at it, bro. Okay? You whine on these girls' channels after your wife goes to bed like a little, you know what? I mean, cut this nonsense out. And then you want to come and step to Bullhorn Betty on this platform without calling me by name. I have no problem calling you out by name. I don't like getting into the drama, and the reason why I don't call you and I don't associate with you is because I like strong people on my team, okay? And you are not one of those people that are strong. You're weak. You think everything's about you. You're like working with another girl, which I don't do, okay? There's only one chick I work with, and that's Chronicles of Olivia, okay? So I don't understand why anybody would be like, oh my God, you shouldn't do this. What is it going to solve? You know what? I've done this for a while. And let me tell you, every time we do one, we get stuff done. Okay? I understand that little boys like you don't understand what big girls like me do. But I was out in front of Gabby Petito's having an attorney going to the news answering our questions. Why? Because we were protesting. In front of Leilani, I had the mayor and the chief of police on tap. Why? Because of the protests. So they heard everything we were saying. Now, I'm bringing it to Sumner County. If you would like to participate, you may. Stephen, we're not kicking you out of it. Now, if you would like to remove yourself from it, don't be calling Bullhorn Betty and saying, boo-hoo, you left me out of it like you did Tony and Seth. Okay? I don't like little B-boys, okay? If you don't get it, you really don't want to piss in my Cheerios. I've already had enough with this app as is. And then you got out here, oh my God, you know, I'm a sweet little Southern boy, and I just don't know what it's going to do. Oh my God. So offended. Jeez Louise, boy. Get your shit together. Quit whining like a little bitch. Sorry, not sorry. God bless.
Just a little angry. Just a little angry. That's all. I was just slightly a little perturbed at the commentary he had about the protest. But like I said, since then I was on his live and I explained exactly why we were doing it. And then his audience is like, oh, she needs to apologize. She should be apologizing to you. Listen, I'm a big girl. He's a big boy. If he can't handle a little bit of Bullhorn Betty, you know, I think true crime might be just a little too much for him. I'm just spitballing over here. Because if that really upset him that much that I needed to apologize, like over here, he would be slaughtered on YouTube. Like the hate channels over here with all the crap he gets wrong. I am not lying. Every day, even when I talk to him on there, he goes, well, you know, I said this, but then it might not have been right. I get some things wrong. I'm just like trying to keep my straight face when he said that. And I'm just thinking, don't you think you should look into it before you open your mouth? I mean, I'm thinking if I did that, it'd be on every single hate channel across YouTube. Look at what Bullhorn Betty got wrong. Look what Bullhorn Betty got wrong, right? And when it comes to him it's like, oh, well, he's a sweet Southern guy. Yeah. Bullhorn Betty got it wrong. I'm taking heat for Steven because they won't blame him. I'm just saying. I was being nice. It could have been worse. But I know that somebody probably clipped it and probably is already going to be making something about it. And before you guys covered my ass and said, no, Betty would never do that, I figured I'd tell you I did. That's all. I'm more confused about creators sometime more than case. Crystal, you're not lying. I get confused about creators too. I every morning I wake up, I want to know if I'm supposed to be Bullhorn Betty or if I'm supposed to be Andra, and then I look at Demon Dog that has a bullhorn already attached to her nostrils, and I'm thinking, okay, it's Bullhorn Betty Day. So I just figured I'd go through that. Now, on a serious note, not so funny, not so, whatever. We're going to be going through some things on here. Now, I'm going to do it a little different than I have been because I noticed that my camera's shutting down. So I forgot I have Windows. And one of the beautiful things about Windows is I can share my screen, my entire screen. And I can share the audio on the entire screen. So that means that I just play from the screen, and you guys, I don't have to worry about tabs and selecting this and I forgot that was one thing I hated when I converted over to Mac, that feature disappeared, and I'm back to Windows. So now we should have that feature back, and I forgot how much I love that feature. So I think maybe it should work a little better than going through all the tabs. Now I just have one screen and you guys can hear and see everything on the screen. Wow. So it might knock my camera off. I'm not sure. We're going to go ahead and try it and see if it works a little better tonight. We're going to be going over a lot of information when it comes to Sebastian Rogers. Predominantly, we're going to focus on Katie's multiple variations of that morning. And so we're going to first start off with the Duchess interview, number 1. She was number 1, and then it was WSMV, then it was Duchess, and then it was Olivia. Okay? And we've got some Nancy Grace up in here, but the Nancy Grace, they were like robots. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. They did not elaborate whatsoever. It was right. So there's only going to be like one clip in there that I'm going to use to kind of like make a point about something we've already talked about multiple times. I did this live yes, Ripper, we just kind of started. You missed the me being upset. I think I'm just a little raw, I'm dealing with court paperwork. My president almost got executed, and I'm dealing with a guy that doesn't really know me and wants to talk about me. So, I don't know. I had to put I had to have a pissing contest. Excuse my language, but that's what it was. I won't lie. So we're just going to go through a few of these things. I want to hear the progression. I want to hear the changes. I want to hear the small nuances. And then we're going to go into the details that we've already watched, but we're going to go into the details that we already watched after listening to the multiple variations of that morning. So let's get started. I'm going to be on a different screen, so you guys are going to have to talk amongst yourselves. When I get back on this screen, I'll let you know that I got back on this screen so you guys can ask questions or talk or commentate, but hold your questions because I don't see them. So thank you, Tony. Karma gift. Oh, Karma, thank you. Gifted 1 Bullhorn Betty membership. So if you received your gifted Bullhorn Betty membership, 1, welcome to the crazy family. And 2, don't forget to thank Karma for the gifted membership. Serenity says they did 2 interviews with New Nations. One was hands interview, and one showed their face. I remember the hands interview, but I didn't find that when I was doing it because I've been doing the first few. But I would like the hands interview, and I would like the one that shows their face. I want both of those. If you do, you know where they are, Serenity? If you do, can you send them to my email and try to get my attention before we close out so we can go and watch those? That would be great. And then we'll see what differences they have in them, because I think those 2 interviews haven't been widely shared. So I'm interested in what those later interviews have in them as well, and how they change and differ from the first few. That's something we could look at too, is the later video or the later interviews like they had on other channels and obviously other news segments. That would be pretty interesting. You know, it's funny. The hate channels can't do this for Seth. That's what's really funny. They can't do this for Seth because Seth's story's been like the same. Like his stuff's been the same, you know? Because, I mean, he was at work. Hey, Abigail, it's nice to see you. Medic Biker, it's nice to see you as well. Everybody else that's coming in, it's great to see you. Sadie, Lady Dragon, Tay, Rain, it's nice to see you all. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. And if I can get those, try to remind me, one of my mods too, when I get back here, but put like if you have to spam the chat until I see it. Hey, Allie, it's nice to see you, love. And hey, Mia. Penny, it's nice to see you, Marilyn. And then we'll go and check out the other 2 that Serenity's sending. Let's see here. Oh, I need to put this on. You guys are going to see me work on my screen. It is part of the love. So there you go. You guys get to see the whole thing. You guys get to see the whole shabam. Is this the right one? Is this the right one? It is the right one. Okay. Here we go. What happened? What happened? Katie's going to tell us. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to start this, and I'm going to have to come back over here real quick to see if there's any audio issues. I'm going to play it. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to come back over and make sure that we have good audio for you guys. If we have good audio for you, then that's all that matters. So let me go ahead and play this. You guys, I'm going to play it for like 20 seconds. Actually, I'm going to back it up for 20 seconds. There we go. I'm going to play it for 20 seconds. Then I'll pop back over to the other side, and you'll see me on screen, and I'll say, did you hear sound? I'll actually say, did you hear sound on this? So
pretty much. I mean, everybody in the neighborhood
now
knows
I would
him.
like to know if you guys can hear
He
sound
is very
from the video.
To himself, so to speak. Between the hours of 12 and 6.
Okay, let's wait to do that. Well, then how the heck can I? Oh, there it goes. Okay, so did you guys hear? You guys heard sound? Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Now, when I go over there, see, this is what it looks like when I'm on the screen with you guys, okay? When I go over there, I can't read the screen. So this, I'm hoping, works better for everybody as far as, visually and everything else. Okay, so now let's get to, I think it was 25:30. Up we went. Okay, so let's start here. This is where they start talking about the time.
None of his shoes are missing.
Oh, let's go back just a little bit. Actually, let's just go back where I was.
He knows him. He is very to himself, so to speak. Between the hours of 12 and 6, he has basically vanished. Walked out of the house, the door was locked and gone. He didn't
Okay, now here's
phone. None of his shoes are missing.
Now, you told me that night that now, Chris, you were at work, you were out of town.
I just want to tell this, if we have creators in the chat, this is never, when you're giving an interview, this is just a suggestion. Don't think I'm trying to tell you guys what to do or anything like that. But it is a suggestion. Don't feed your subject information. Ask them questions. When you start dancing on eggshells, you're not going to get a legit answer because you just gave them all the excuses that they need. Especially even if you don't think that they're guilty, just like law enforcement and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, what do they tell you to do? Even if the child is just a runaway, act like the bedroom is a crime scene, okay? You have to do this. These are children that are missing. This is not our first rodeo. It does the community, the true crime community, a disservice when you're feeding them excuses for them to pick one, okay? Let them ask the question and let them answer the question. That's really just a suggestion. Again, not trying to tell people what to do. But now we're getting into where you guys get it.
Now, you told me that night that, now, Chris, you were at work, you were out of town at work,
Yes,
so you were not even home.
Right, ma'am.
And Mom, you fell asleep on the couch about 10 o'clock, but you said that Sebastian went to bed at 9 p.m. And then you got up off the couch and you went to bed, and you said that was around midnight. And nothing was unusual at that point. Everything seemed okay.
There's actually a piece of, so to make something very crystal clear, so that way there's transparency across the board. Me and the mom were on the phone at 9:43 or 9:46 in the evening. We stayed on the phone for quite some time. The call logs have been verified.
And she just said that she fell asleep at 10. And she confirmed it with Duchess that she fell asleep at 10. Yet Chris pipes in and says, I received a call at 9:43. So let's hear that again so we're crystal clear. I can't even do it with a straight face. So we're crystal clear on the facts, okay? So I want you guys to hear it. Starts right out here.
Night that, now, Chris, you were at work, you were out of town at work,
Yes,
so you were not even home.
Right, ma'am.
And Mom, you fell asleep on the couch about 10 o'clock, but you said that Sebastian.
You fell asleep on the couch at 10 o'clock. Duchess had a conversation with them before they came on this, and that's where she got this information. So she just said that she went to sleep at 10 o'clock. Yet, Chris
was unusual at that point. Everything seemed okay.
There's actually a piece of, so to make something very crystal clear, so that way there's transparency across the board. Me and the mom were on the phone at 9:43 or 9:46 in the evening.
Okay, so there's that. Now let's hear what she has to say in the interview with, actually, this is the one. Hold on, it's the green shirt interview. Let's listen to what she has to say. This is the next interview.
We're having a really good weekend. We got home. Everything was pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom. I love you." Said goodnight to his puppies. A little bit later, I wound up going to bed, and when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there.
Six. So were you instantly thinking something's wrong, or were you like, he may just be already in the shower, in the living room?
I took a second and walked through the house looking for him in case he'd gotten up and was trying to get breakfast or something, because he did that sometimes. About 3 minutes in, give or take. I was on the phone with my husband. I said, I can't find him. He said, what do you mean you can't find him? I said, he's not in the house.
And so at that point, is that when you call 911 or what's going through your mind?
While we were on the phone and I was like, is he on the other side of the bed? The normal places he may be in the house, and he wasn't. So I was like, okay, well, hold on a minute. And immediately after that, we called the sheriff's department and made the report.
I ran all over the house, outside, inside. I looked in every closet.
Within minutes, they were here. They responded within minutes, and here we go.
Here we go.
So you said you were on the phone with her. So you were not home.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I was at work. I'm a tower crane operator, and I was working in Memphis at the St. Jude project.
He stumbled on Memphis too. Now let's go and listen to Chronicles of Olivia's statements.
About 9 o'clock, told him to go to bed.
Let me ask you guys this. Let me come over here real quick. Are you guys hearing subtle differences in the statements already just in those 2 interviews? Because if you haven't, there were, and we'll discuss those. Now we're going to go to the Chronicles of Olivia, and this is kind of when things start getting a little different. There's a lot more added to this. So she says goodnight to his puppies. She makes Sebastian sound like a toddler. Well, I hear the intellect thing, so I'm not sure how all that works, but let me put this back on the screen real quick. And either way, let's get back to the interview. But she does make him sound very young.
Come out of his room where he was playing.
Let's go back.
About 9 o'clock, told him to go to bed. He said, come out of his room where he was playing. He said, all right, good night, Mama. Good night, puppies. Love you. And went to bed. He was doing something in his room because about an hour later I heard some noise.
Actually, we need to go back a little.
In there, but go to sleep.
Hold on, we need to go back just a little bit more.
We had a good time. We were laughing. We were joking. He talked to family on the phone during breakfast to brag. We went and picked up our niece.
That's the one.
Yeah, I got a call.
She looks over to him. This is where a lot of people start getting confused. Is Chris there? The reason why she looked at him, in my opinion, because I don't believe Chris was there until much later, like the morning of the 26th at around 3:30 in the morning, to be precise, if I had to put a time stamp on it, just saying. But the reason why she's looking at him for confirmation, in my opinion, is because this is the story they came up with. And she wanted to make sure, because on Nancy Grace, I could have sworn she looked like she was reading a piece of paper. So it sounds like they've got this story written down to memorize it. And it seems like at this point, she asked him, is that right? So let's just look at that just real quick and see for yourself.
We went and picked up our niece. I got a call and asked if I could go and pick her up, and I did. And so we went and did that and went to BJ's. Had a good time there. He had a colossal popcorn. Came home to put groceries away because we bought snacks because, he's 15 and snacks. We went to the bowling alley. And then from there, we went to dinner. Came home.
And he's in agreement because he knows the script.
He took out the trash because that's his chore. He takes the can to the end of the driveway.
Okay, so now we're going to be starting to talk about leading up to the day. So this is the part that I need you guys to pay attention to in the nuances from the first two. The first two was, and we'll go back to them because they're just a couple minutes. So we'll go back to them a couple times.
About 9 o'clock, told him to go to bed. And he's come out of his room where he was playing, and he said, "All right, good night, Mama. Good night, puppies. Love you." And went to bed. He was doing something in his room because about an hour later I heard some noise, and I was like, "I don't care what you're doing in there, but go to sleep."
That would be at 10 o'clock. She heard an hour later, he went to bed at 9. So an hour later, she hears a noise in his room. All right, so let's listen to what her verbiage is here. It's going to change.
Went to bed. He was doing something in his room because about an hour later I heard some noise, and I was like, "I don't care what you're doing in there, but go to sleep."
No thud.
And about midnight, I got up and I went to bed. And 6 o'clock, I went to wake him up for school Monday morning. And that's when he went in here.
What was going through your mind at that point? Like, what were the feelings that you were feeling?
To censor myself. Holy freaking crap, this can't be happening. Where is my kid? Choice words were used. Like, where the F is he? I had looked through the house for him because it was typical for him to get up and come and rummage for snacks and things like that. And he likes to dip behind the, walls and
Much different than what she originally said.
watch, and then he comes out after I come back and he likes to scare me. But after I looked, and I mean, mind you, all of this took place in like 1 minute flat. But I didn't see him in his room. I looked all over. I ran through the whole house. I looked out all the doors and windows, and I was like hollering his name. And I picked up the phone and I called my husband, and I said, "I can't find him." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "He's not in this effing house. I can't find our son." And I jumped in my car and I drove around the neighborhood, and I drove over by the school, and he's already at this point I was like hysterical, and I was crying, I was screaming. And he was like, three-wayed. He three-wayed law enforcement and was telling them like, "Our son is missing and we don't know what's going on." And he was like, "Go back to the house. They're on their way." And I drove back to the house. And
Lot different from the first two interviews before this one. She decided to bring in a lot more detail. I don't know if it was from nervousness, but she keeps looking down. She won't make any eye contact with Olivia. She's almost like she's reading a script in her head. And Chris is making sure she's sticking to the script, nodding his head when she's doing it right, coughing when she's making mistakes.
20 days later, we haven't found him.
Yeah, I can't even imagine how stressful that is. And also, like when we were driving up here, like this neighborhood is so pretty and nice. And do you think, has he ever like walked away before? Or, like, has that ever happened? It's just no. First,
He's not a child that wanders. He's not one that is.
She just took a deep breath too. So now we have that one. This is the second interview. We went through this interview. So I think this is up on the next. Let's listen to what they have to say in this variation.
he took the trash out because that's his chore. And
do you notice he took the trash out, that's his chore. She says that specific word in almost every single one of her interviews. I just noticed that. In every single one of his interviews, she says it's specifically exactly the same. He took the trash out because that was his chore. I wonder if that means something.
Man, and he was playing in his room until bedtime. And at bedtime, I told him, I said, "Hey, Bubba, it's time to go to bed." And he goes, "Okay, good night, Mama, I love you." And then he said goodnight to his puppies. And he went to bed.
Okay. And walk me through what happened. You said that you were on a phone call, you were on the couch, and then you went to bed at midnight. Walk me through exactly what transpired during that time before you went to bed at midnight for you.
So, well, my husband, he works out of town a lot. So we normally sit and talk every evening. And I normally fall asleep on him. And
she had that weird laugh again that she had when she said that Sebastian went to bed with no problems.
We normally sit and talk every evening, and I normally fall asleep on him. And he'll tell me, "Wake up, you gotta go to bed." And and that was right around midnight. So I got up and I put the puppies up and I went to bed myself at midnight. And
wow, that midnight time is very, very important to Katie, for everybody to know she was in bed and asleep at midnight. I mean, out of everything, she overly emphasizes midnight.
Yeah, I went to sleep, obviously. And then at 6 a.m., I went to wake him up for school, and that's when I couldn't find him. And sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Take your time.
She doesn't get
Take your time. Tell me, did Sebastian take any type of medication before he went to bed, or that would make him sleepy, or if he did take medication, it was just in the morning, or did he take medication at night before he went to bed?
He did take medication nightly and daily.
Okay.
For HIPAA reasons,
She didn't even ask that. She didn't even ask anything other than those questions, but he has to interject.
We will not disclose.
I understand. I was just trying to think, if there was something that might have made him sleepy, like if he would have woken up, I just, all these different questions that people have asked. So, right. But you don't have to disclose any particular, nobody needs to know that, specifically. I just wanted to ask.
Let me see what else she asks.
Do you feel any particular way? Do you have any thoughts about Sebastian's disappearance? Do you feel that he may have walked off? I've seen a lot of people in chat saying that he went out the window versus he went out the door. How did the door get locked? That you found the door locked? Can you walk me through exactly what that looks like and what you found? Was the door locked? What do you think may have occurred for him walking off versus
I tell you this,
with someone? Okay.
We didn't find any signs of the windows, but and without disclosing the details of my door locks, I will say that Sebastian regularly and consistently went out and locked the door behind himself.
Okay. All right, let me get over here because I have some other.
So here's a key factor. Actually, you know what? They were just talking about locks. Let me get over to the next one. Now remember, there are no videos of Sebastian walking out the front door, which is circled right here. Okay. There's no, this right here is angled at a neighbor's home that has a Ring doorbell camera that picks up the movements and stuff from their house. It just comes with the territory of having Ring doorbell cameras. Now, I don't know if this over here is Sebastian's room or this over here is Sebastian's room, but one of these front windows saw a figure that evening peering out after the entire house goes dark, goes completely dark. So, as far as that Ring doorbell camera picking Sebastian coming up, picking him up coming out of the home would be almost guaranteed. And even Chris corroborates that.
Not only that, but if somebody had been by the front door, punched in the code, believe it or not, no, it's not super clear, but you would have seen a shadow or a figure.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
And based on, something would have been visible because one of the lights is still visible from that Ring camera from across the street.
Yeah. Whoa.
So we do have this whole situation where Chris and Katie are talking about things. They obviously didn't see Sebastian physically get up and walk out the door. And there's no reason why, if he did walk out the front door, the one door that Katie was talking about that he has he locks behind him, which is the keypad, which is the front door, it would have been picked up on the neighbor's camera, but it was not. Not even the door cracking open was picked up on the neighbor's door camera. Nothing was picked up on the neighbor's door camera. Nothing at all. So we have this thing going on here, and then we learn where hold on. Oh, and then we learn that Chris and Katie, Seth and Cathy Bowersox were seen out in front of the yard talking to law enforcement by a neighbor. The one thing that I had been mentioning since for a while, long before Miss Bobby gave her interview, was what Katie was wearing at the time law enforcement got to the house. And the reason why is because on the green shirt interview, at the 2-minute and 30-second mark, let's just go there so you guys can hear it. Two minutes, 30-second mark. This is what Katie says. Can you guys hear that?
So
Let me try that again.
I do puppies. A little bit later, I wound up going to bed, and when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there.
I don't know why I can't hear the audio. Hopefully you guys can. So she basically asked her, what time does she normally wake up? And she said 6 o'clock. And then we go over to Nancy Grace. And Nancy Grace, so about 5 seconds, you'll hear Nancy Grace.
That morning, you woke up at 6 o'clock. Is that the normal time you wake up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if she wakes up at 6 a.m., and this is what happened at 6 a.m.
None of his shoes are missing.
Him
Oops,
at work, so you were not even home.
okay.
Right, ma'am.
And Mom, you fell asleep on the couch about 10 o'clock, but
Actually, a piece of been verified.
Hold on.
So then Mom does go to bed. and wakes up early in the morning to go wake her son up, get him ready for school. And now we have a worried mom who can't find her son in the house. Mom made an effort to look and search several times.
That sounds so cold. So she wakes up. Let's keep listening.
Mom has called me at the time and asked me, she was like, I can't find him. I was like, do what? She goes, yeah, I cannot find him. I said, well, hang on. I made the phone call and reported it to the sheriff's department because.
So according to him, I just want you guys to understand what he just said here. You guys heard that, right? You guys could hear it even when you guys weren't watching it. I didn't realize I didn't show it to you. Sorry about that. Basically, what he said is that mother has a worried son. He wasn't in the house. She calls him, and he's like, "Okay, let me call law enforcement." Right? That's what we all just heard. Everybody just heard that? Do we need to replay it? Let me replay it. Let me replay it for everybody here. Oops, let me let you guys watch it. So you don't have to watch my ugly mug. Hold on. Let's listen to the words that come out of his mouth.
Mom has called me at the time and asked me, she was like, I can't find him. Mom made an effort to look and search several times. Mom has called me at the time and asked me, she was like, I can't find him. I was like, do what? She goes, yeah, I cannot find him. I said, well, hang on. I made the phone call and reported it to the sheriff's department because.
So where did the 34 minutes come from? I mean, according to this very first interview Chris gave, she called him. He immediately called law enforcement. There was no driving around for Katie. There was no going up to the school for Katie. When did all this stuff transpire? I think it started transpiring and the changes in their story started happening when we realized that Cathy Bowersox was up at the store, that Katie's car was seen leaving her residence and heading toward the school, right? But here's the kicker, and I've maintained this from the very beginning. She woke up at 6 a.m. She went in and immediately woke up her son. Her son wasn't there. She panicked. She went hysterical. She called her husband within 3 minutes. She searched around the house, the few places that her husband had recommended to her. She, as hysterical as she was, gets in her car and leaves the premises to go up to the school to find out if he was there. We have no knowledge whether she went into the school or where else she went to look for him. She never clarified that. While she was searching around, not at 6:04 or 6:05 or 6:06, it was at 6:33 or 6:34 when Chris finally called law enforcement while Katie was still in the car and tells her to head home. The law enforcement is coming. So when law enforcement got there, she should have still been in her pajamas. Her hair should have been a mess. Her teeth should not have been brushed. And she should not have been wearing clothes or anything but house shoes or flip-flops at this time. Maybe a house coat. Then we get into Miss Bobby's interview. And in Miss Bobby's interview, she's talking about comments that her Katie made about her missing son. So she didn't really tell anybody but law enforcement that her son was missing until 7:30 in the morning. One of the neighbors actually helped her look around the house. And but somebody in the Facebook group actually asked what the commotion was at the house before anybody said anything about Sebastian missing. And I want you to hear this portion of it. Oops, wrong one. Oh, that's not it either. I know I got it here. There it is. I got it in the wrong place. We're going to be at 6:40.
Running out the door and went over there to kind of help, with the search and stuff. And they said that they saw Seth and Katie in the front yard and of course, they didn't know the names back then. They just knew, like, now that they've seen pictures, they go back and say, yeah, it was Seth and Katie and Cathy Bowersox and a bunch of other police, law enforcement and stuff like that. But Chris was not there yet.
Interesting.
Well, he wasn't there then.
Now, where do you live relative to the Proudfoots?
I live at the very top of the hill on Kellen.
So the next street, the street that turns into Stafford.
The main street.
Main street coming in. So just basically what you're now going back to Katie, like what you know or what you heard. When was Katie driving around in her SUV? Like a time frame? Like when do you think she was driving around in her SUV looking for Sebastian, like she claims?
Right. So there's so many different things here because the neighbor that I actually spoke with, that I'm friends with, she's the one that has the camera on the corner of Stafford and Kellen. And I'm not going to mention her name, but she's the one that the camera footage got leaked without her knowledge and her permission that everybody has seen. But I've directly spoken with her. And then I also have directly spoken with a couple other neighbors that live very close to the Proudfoot's house. And the neighbor that I spoke with the very first time that morning, she said that when she was taking her kids to school, Katie was already back from looking. She had just got back from looking, and the kids have to be in school at 7:30. And so she normally leaves the house at 7 to take her kids to school. But Katie was already back and in the front yard, and all the clocks and stuff were there. So she stopped for a minute to talk to her, took her to school. My neighbor that had the camera footage told me that her timeline is not working correctly. But when she puts it all together with the sunrise and then the bus coming through and all of that, she said it was approximately about 6 o'clock, 6:15, 6:20. It was right in between, supposedly when she just
6:15, 6:20 when Katie leaves her house. Now, mind you, their story is that they've told us prior to this is Katie woke up at 6, went into Sebastian's room. He was not there. 3 minutes later, she's calling Chris. Chris is basically saying on the very first interview, Dutch's very first interview, the first person that was able to publicly interview them, he says that he immediately called law enforcement. However, in this variation, she left, and this is legit because she did leave the house. She did leave the house. And according to the timestamps, they were following the time and trying to make heads or tails using like landmark things. For example, what do I mean by landmark? Not necessarily an actual landmark, but they know when the garbage truck comes through their neighborhood every Monday. And based upon that, they can, rewind and find out how much time it is from that garbage truck to the time when all these things were happening, and see that it was 2 hours before that. This came in at, say, 5:45. It was 2 hours before that would be 3:45. You see what I'm saying? So they were able to gauge that, just like they were able to gauge. They know what time that the truck comes, the garbage truck comes in. They can fast forward it to when Katie left and reasonably assume that it was at this particular time. So they're saying she didn't even leave to go look for her son outside of the house for a good 15 minutes. What were her and Chris talking about that 15 minutes? Just a question. Let's keep listening. Let me back up a little bit so you guys can hear it without my commentary.
He said it was approximately about 6 o'clock, 6:15, 6:20. It was right in between supposedly when she discovered him missing. Supposedly she gets up, she runs around the house, she gets dressed, and she drives out of the neighborhood and that kind of.
So she was already dressed before she left to drive out of the neighborhood. That does not bode. That does not bode with the story we've been receiving prior to Bobby coming forward.
And goes looking for him. But I know the neighbor next, if you're looking at the Prophet's house on the left, when she went running out of her house hysterical, the neighbor next to her was already out. You know, of course, everybody's getting up, getting ready for work, getting kids ready for school. Bus comes 6:45, 6:50-ish. 6:45, 6:50. It's been a long time since my kids have ridden the bus, so I have to really think about that one. But it's definitely before 7 because the kids have to be in school in class by 7:30. And we're the last picked up before he actually goes to school because we're right next to the school. So, you know, everybody was getting up and getting ready for work and everything. So she actually saw her out and she asked her what was going on and she told her. And so she actually walked around the house and was helping her look around the house. So she was already back from looking around 7.
Interesting. When she left to go look for Sebastian, I know that if you turn right going out of the Prophet, you go up the top of the hill, it's a cul-de-sac, or you go around and you can go up your street all the way at the back where the construction is. Did she, before she ventured out of the neighborhood, did she go up those roads do you know of to look?
Did she go up my road?
Your road or her road itself to the top of the cul-de-sac? You know, where
the only thing I was right. So the only thing I was told, of course, we nobody in my house was up or out yet, so I can't verify that because we weren't out yet. But the neighbor that told me that she saw her SUV drive across her driveway saw her leave.
Like
so
leave out
that's right.
So she never searched the neighborhood like she said in Chronicles of Olivia's interview, where she states that she went all up and down the roads. Let's see if I can find it. If I can find her hands moving, that's when I know I got it. Okay, it's right here.
What do you mean? I said, he's not in this effing house. I can't find our son. And I jumped in my car and I drove around the neighborhood and I drove over by the school and he'd already
drove all over by the school. And then we find out that
nobody in my house was up or out yet, so I can't verify that because we weren't out yet. But the neighbor that told me that she saw her SUV drive across her driveway saw her leave.
Saw her leave. Immediately leave. Immediately leave. So, again, Cathy Bowersox is seen at the general store literally right around the corner from the school. And Katie is telling everybody that she searched that community when cameras seeing her driving out of her driveway and out of the community. Why didn't she search the community like she said? Why was she dressed when law enforcement saw her? Why was Cathy Bowersox seen up at that general store? And then, now it's time to look at other things going on. Now we're going to go back in time and go to the night before. what was going on in and around the house before this child went missing. Now, mind you, one thing Miss Bobby said, let me find it real quick because this is going to be important. And it is okay, 2619. 2619. Let's listen to some things real quick. $26.19. Oh, there we go. Can you guys see that still? Yeah, you guys can. Okay, good.
Misconception was that the neighborhood behind us, they get picked up by a different company on Tuesdays. So that's a whole different thing.
Is that construction development?
Oh, wait,
you're
hold
talking
on.
about?
Well, that was the dumpster that everybody was asking about. How is it possible that, whatever, that the dog hit over there as well? The second dog that was out walking hit also by the trash dump.
Sorry.
At their house that night after dinner. There's nothing. There's her car coming home. My neighbor did tell me that she saw her car come, but she parks in the garage. So nobody saw him get out of the car.
What time was that? I always want to know what time she arrived home. Do you know?
I asked, and she said that it was a light thing. I was told no proof of him, him walking out, but there's no proof of him physically walking out. And then it was, okay, are there any cars around there? And so going back to the whole light thing, I was told that there was an unidentified car sitting on my street facing the entrance somewhere around 3:30 or so. And then the flashlights were actually seen on the neighbor's camera, 2 separate flashlights walking in between the yards, which the trash truck does not do. They don't need to. All of the trash is at the curb. They have never, ever gone. Matter of fact, when you sign up for services, they tell you in the email their rules and regulations. If your trash is not by the curb, they don't take it. Unless, you're an elderly person, you ask them. If your trash is like in the front of your house and you ask them, they'll come and get it like that, but they won't come around the back or in between houses. That's bull monarchy. That is not how that works.
No track. You don't believe that those 3:10 a.m. lights were around 3:10 after 3 a.m. were trash truck lights.
Not only do I not believe it, but the neighbor that has the actual footage swore up and down that there are 2 different circumstances. There was the car with the lights coming towards the car backed up on Kellen and left. And then about 2-ish hours, hour and a half, hour and 42 something, they're like she said, the time stamp on the video is not working. It is stuck. She said, but you can tell because it's pitch black dark in the middle of the night when the car comes down the street, turns onto Stafford, sits there for about 3 to 5 minutes. The flashlights are coming from 2 different directions in between the yards. They do whatever they're doing around the car. The car backs up Kellen and leaves from Stafford. I'm sorry, backs up Kellen and leaves. And then 2 or so hours later, as the sun is just beginning to come up, you can see the trash truck. And she said, but the trash truck goes past her driveway. She said, you can see the trash truck and the lights and the back of the truck go past her driveway, go up the hill, do its business, turn around, come back down. And then within a few minutes later, the sun is coming up. And then you can see Katie's car leave, Katie's car coming back. And then you can see all the police come in. She said, it's very obvious. So I asked her why the police are saying that that's trash truck. And she said, I don't know. I'm baffled. Because I tell you right now, there are two different circumstances, and that you can tell there.
And did you guys hear one thing I just caught that I didn't catch before? Oh, my camera did go out. Hold on a second. Give me just a second. Yeah, my camera went out again on me. Can you guys hear? Well, I'll just put this up for right now. Anyways, she said that the lights came from two separate directions. One came from one side of the house or in one direction, and one came from one side of the house and went a different direction. So I just caught that on here. I did just catch that on here. Now, let me put this back up because now this is going to get into our next tidbit of information here. Can you guys hear? Can you guys hear that? Because I'm not hearing sound coming out of my computer, and I just want to make sure you guys can hear it. Can you guys hear that? Or do I need to refresh the screen? Hey, Kelly, it's nice to see you. No, you can't? Okay, let me refresh the screen, guys. I'll be right back. We almost made it through it, but we didn't quite make it. So anyways, we're down to the last little bit of this. So hopefully we'll be able to hear it from here. Give me just a second. Let me get this back on the screen. There we go. All right, let's go back. Yep, wrong one. Let me refresh this. If I got to go to a different tab, I'll open a different tab. Still not doing it. Hold on. Not sure what that's all about. Huh. It's not playing the sound. All right. Dad, burn it. I hate when I can't get things to work right. That sucks, but that's okay. We will do it this way. There it is. Maybe this will work. Hopefully this will work. Might not. I don't know. It's not working. I don't know what the heck happened. But either way, I'll walk you through it. So this is the, sounds like I can hear it. Sounds like I can hear it, but I can't. So here we go. I'm going to mute it.
You see subject 1 with a light source in the lower right-hand corner. Then you see subject 2 briefly appear and move toward.
They are coming from different directions. And I know it's getting skippy, and I'm sorry about that. There's nothing I can do about it. It's just going to be what it is. So just bear with me on this.
The first before that light source is covered or obscured by bushes. Subject 1, a few seconds later, then moves out of frame. Then subject 2 reappears and follows subject 1 off screen. More time later, and it's very vague, but then you see one of the subjects moving quickly back through the common area.
And what we did find out is we did locate the car. And here is the infamous shadow. I can tell right from this that this is an SUV. It doesn't matter. Now we have an idea of what SUV it is, but we can tell that this is an SUV. This is not a car. This doesn't have a trunk on it. This is not a pickup truck. It doesn't have a bed. This is a hatch that is common with SUVs. Now, because of this little nipple right here, this is unique. And so we applied a QX80, an Infiniti QX80, and it almost overlays perfectly. What you don't know is you see this little dot right here. It's kind of a lone wolf down here. And I couldn't understand what this dot was. Well, in the QX80, as you can see, it has an indentation, a decorative indentation in it. And it hits right at the decorative indentation. See that? So this is what I believe happened. I believe that this right here is a QX80. I believe that this vehicle right here is Cathy Bowersox vehicle. And I believe that there is somebody in it because based upon Bobby's testimony, Bobby's statement, is this vehicle pulled up and was here 3 to 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden the lights come out of the house. That indicates to me that somebody was waiting for them at a vehicle. Somebody was waiting for them at this vehicle. We didn't see the flashlights going to the house. We only see the flashlights coming out of the house. And Bobby didn't talk about anybody getting out of the car and walking toward the house. So this is pretty problematic for me. And then we couple these tracks with
So I'll put that in here as well. So he said that out the front door, it scented Sebastian. And then the dog scented around the house like this. And then back over here where it came out, the dog came out on, I think it's called Kellen Lane. So it kind of came right in front of that same house that had the fixed light on it. And then he apparently walked this direction. And then right up here on Devon Court, took a right.
I didn't realize this wasn't on big screen.
And then
let me put it on big screen so you guys can see it.
Story absolutely makes sense. Now, he also explained to me the route that the dog took when it had a scent. So I'll put that in here as well. So he said that out the front door, it scented Sebastian. And then the dog scented around the house like this. And then back over here where it came out, the dog came out on, I think it's called Kellen Lane. So it kind of came right in front of that same house that had the fixed light on it. And then he apparently walked this direction. And then right up here on Devon Court, took a right. And then went down this Parkenham Drive. Now, the thing is all this is way more developed at this point because this was a year ago, 4/14/2020.
Yes, that right there is a fully paved road through the community.
23. And I think you could actually walk straight through like that. And apparently walked over here, and there's a retention pond right here now. And apparently that's where the tracking stopped, and I guess it's not really that deep, that retention pond. So maybe he walked through it.
Makes you wonder where that car went. It makes you wonder where that car went. And then we hear that Chris was potentially at work at 5:15, which is most likely not the case.
Are we getting closer to the truth? These are some must-see messages in the Sebastian Rogers case, allegedly from a co-worker of Chris Proudfoot. We know that he is a crane worker and was working at St. Jude's, which is about 3 hours away from his home. Sebastian was put to bed on the 25th February by his mother, Cathy Proudfoot.
Sorry, guys.
On the morning of the 26th, she went to wake him up for
I think I'm
school,
having internet
but Sebastian
problems.
was nowhere to be found. Where was Chris at this time? He says he was at work. Well, this co-worker of his has a very interesting version to share. This man says he was also working at St. Jude's, and Chris was operating the crane for them on February 26. He had issues with Chris's performance, attitude and demeanor all morning, so bad that he requested Chris be removed. They started work at 7 on the morning of the 26th, and Chris was replaced by 10 or 11. He then stormed off the job site. So, Chris had all night and only started work at 7.
Sorry. Good gracious.
Are we getting closer to the truth?
Oh. I'm having technical issues.
Then stormed off the job site. So, Chris had all night and only started work at 7 on the 26th. By that time Sebastian was already missing, and reported missing too. How can we be sure that Chris was in that area all night? We know his phone probably was.
Okay, well, you guys get the gist. We needed to see the information. I'm gonna have to refresh all of this. This stuff is just, it jammed up everything. So this is the next one I want you guys to hear.
Wow. His mama does not.
Who does he play chess with?
He plays with Chris's stepdad. He plays with Chris sometimes. He last year he was in the chess club.
That was the other question I was going to ask that
I'm having too many technical issues. We might need to refresh probably tomorrow. I'll get some of these other comments up, but for whatever reason it's just buffering, so I'm having some tech issues. So as you guys can see, the progression in the statements of Chris and Katie, they were very vague, but pointed on very specific key factors in the Dutch's interview. We also learned from Miss Bobby that some of those things, oh, that's what I was going to show you, but I can't show you now because my system's freezing up on me for whatever reason. And Miss Bobby stated that the neighbor that spoke to Katie, she said that Sebastian went to bed at 9 and she fell asleep on the couch and she woke up at 11:30, and while she was in the kitchen, she heard a thud. But she went to bed and went to bed at midnight. Midnight. Yeah, it's storming here too. Or it was. It stormed enough to worry little one here. So we have the progression, then we have the light sources, and then we have the vehicle out there, and then we have Chris disappearing for 17 hours. This is very problematic. But the biggest problem of it all is Sebastian has not yet been found and has not been brought home yet, and has not been brought home safely. Because he hasn't been found, according to law enforcement, there's no evidence. At least a month ago, or at least 3 months ago, there was no evidence leaning one way or another. I don't believe that that's the case today, but I believe that they do have more than they did on the 26th of February, but we don't know. And I think the community should at least know if they have more than they did. But I also believe that Katie and Chris are under the microscope, and it's shackling law enforcement's hands to say one way or another, because if they're being cooperative and law enforcement's making progress, then it could shut those communications down. So I understand some of the reality of it. But at the end of the day, what do? Chris and Katie, there's red flags all over the place. You don't get that with Seth. You get a disgruntled dad. Who wouldn't be disgruntled in a situation like this? Who wouldn't be disgruntled in a situation like this? So these are the reasons. And then we find out that forensics haven't been done in the house. Seth was on cameras in a jail, literally related to the hours in question. Right? Because Sebastian disappeared between 12 and 6 a.m. Well, Seth Rogers was in jail between 12 and 6 a.m. No possibility. The only possibility of Seth being responsible for this is if he hired and paid for someone. And again, there would be a paper trail. You would clearly see money going out of his. I could tell you, Seth lives a simple life. You know what I'm saying? He goes to work. He comes home. He doesn't go out and he doesn't go bar hopping or partying or anything like that. He goes to work. He comes home. He visits when he has visitation with his son, and that's his life. So it would be very easy for law enforcement to follow a money trail. He's got money from one source. He's got one bank account. You put money in, you take money out. It's easy to follow. It's easy to track. So the only other possibility of Seth being involved is if he hired someone. Well, hiring someone requires money. You got to remember, Seth is not from this area. He moved to this area for his son. So, it's tough. It's tough to believe. So there's no reason why he shouldn't be cleared. There's no reason why he shouldn't be able to get people to help him in this matter, but law enforcement won't clear anybody, and they won't talk to anybody. And then we find out that DNA forensics hasn't been done in the bedroom or in the house, the last place he was seen. And we're all looking at ourselves saying, that's critical. That's absolutely critical. The forensics are absolutely critical. Because if something happened to Sebastian inside that home, those forensics may show that. And then at that point, they could determine if something happened to him significantly inside that home. And that's the information I believe Seth needs to know, or at least law enforcement, right? Law enforcement doesn't even know because they didn't do it. So how are they turning over every stone and every rock? That's just my main question. It's not to be mean. It's not to throw shade. It's legitimate questions based upon the standards for cases like this. And since they refuse to answer those questions, I'm not going to sit on my hands. I'm not going to sit on my hands. I don't want the information. I want Seth to have some information, right? If we can get him in there to talk to them and have real meaningful conversation with law enforcement, August 26th doesn't need to be had. Right? So that's where we're at here. But August 26th is a firm date. Make your plans, We're going to be at Sumner County Police Department. I'm really leaning for a 9 to a noon type of thing, so before it gets too hot, because I'm planning on having cake there, and I want to make sure that it's not too hot and it melt, So I'm really thinking like a 9 to noon type of ordeal. I think that would be good. It's not too long. If we all want to like go out to lunch, we can go find a place for lunch. We can talk about Sebastian. We can, I can see everybody. I can hand you guys some things if you want flyers, or I don't know if we'll have bands, if those are all out. I don't know, but we can definitely, do something. But I definitely want this to be all about Sebastian and all about activity and getting information about Sebastian or his whereabouts. Law enforcement hasn't brought him home and has not brought him home safe. So clearly they don't have it, in my opinion. Clearly they don't have it, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. My opinion doesn't mean squat. Oh, thank you, Lady Dragon. Lady Dragon gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. Thank you so much. Thank you. I knew there was a reason why I came here to check. So she sent the 2 interviews. Let's check those out before we close out. And Mickey J became well, welcome to the crazy family. Welcome to the crazy family. Let me pull this up. I don't know how well we're going to be able to watch it because I'm having some tech issues, as you can see. Okay, got it. Let's see here. Okay, here. Okay. So let's listen to this one. It's actually not that that bad. I'm going to try the entire screen again. I like this. If I can get it to work right, I like the entire screen thing. I'm sorry. It just works better for me. It's not such a pain in the butt. It's always such a pain in the butt anymore. Okay.
This was an experience that I would have never dreamed would come. Honestly, I can't put words to how hard this has been and how much it hurts not knowing where my son is, where he's at, if he's okay. Just horrible is the best thing I can say.
What about for you?
It's rough. I mean, we were on day 11, no answers. And the horrible things that people say just keep rolling in, regardless of taking time to consider the facts and, assumptions is what they're going off of. But
I can tell you I'm going off of facts and putting those facts and giving opinions based upon those facts. But there's definitely some facts here to be had.
For us, we sit here and we wait and hopefully we'll get an answer, or hopefully he walks through our door, which would be amazing.
Hopefully he walks through the door. But these people right here left their home during major search efforts for a while. What was it? Several days? A week? I know that they were back and forth. She came home for like a day or two and she was gone again.
I was going to say, how badly do you both want Sebastian to just walk through that front door to get that call?
I'd give anything. In a heartbeat, I would give anything.
It's not measurable. Let's put it that way. There's no measurable. Anybody says all it is. You've never sat in these shoes. You've never been in this situation. And I don't ever wish for people to be in this situation.
And what's Sebastian like? What's his personality like? What does he love to do?
He, for the most part, is happy. He likes to laugh and joke and tell you all about everything and then some. He loves games. He loves video games. He loves to play with his Legos, even building things with me. We build little projects here and there, but he's always a character.
Are there any like weird tendencies that he has that might be able to help people find him in this search?
I don't know how hopeful to finding him, but he fidgets constantly. He loves shiny pennies, paper clips. He's always like, whenever we go to the grocery store and for sure I'm out of shape and play with them, fidget with them. He loves playgrounds. I mean, we've said it before, he likes fishing and things like that, but
Cats. We're one of those cats.
he does. He loves cats. I don't know. He's just
Wow.
oh, I know it was fast. And we haven't found him. You look here and together as well. He was playing right up until bedtime and then some. I let him stay up a little late. And when I told him to go to bed, you know, he's like, I love you, Mom. I love you, puppies.
Script.
And, he went to bed. And I went to bed around midnight.
Midnight.
Everything seemed fine. And when I went to wake him up for school,
Not one thud, not one noise at night, nothing.
that's when I couldn't find him. He wasn't in his room and he wasn't in the house. And that's when I panicked.
And when you panicked, what did you do?
First thing I did was call my husband and I said, he's not here. My husband said, what do you mean he's not here? I said, he's not in the house. And he said, you know, immediately just started, you know, did you check here? Did you check there? Did you look here? And I ran through the house. And at that point, I was hysterical, for lack of a word. And we three-wayed the police.
No running all over the neighborhood, no going up to the store or to the school. They immediately called law enforcement.
And I'm within minutes they were here.
And then within minutes they were there.
I can tell you exactly how long. I know it was fast. And we haven't found him.
When I got the phone call that he was missing, like she said, we asked questions like, where's he at? Check this, check that. And then we called the sheriff's department. I called the sheriff.
Very quickly. They immediately called sheriff's department. They looked around the house. They checked here. They checked there. He wasn't in all those places. They called the park. Why did they want us to know that Katie left that house that morning until she was forced to tell us that she left that house that morning? That is the reason why law enforcement does the work that they do, and they ask them these questions. Her story was changing. Her story was ever flowing, if you will.
Apartment. I stayed on the phone pretty much most of the time.
Most of the time, interesting.
And then while I was at work, I asked for a relief. Got a relief. Got in my truck from Memphis and made my way to Nashville.
And that was, I guess, Monday?
The morning that he was missing, yes.
Okay. And so what was your reaction when you got that call from your wife that Sebastian was missing?
Initially, I was like, oh, he's goofing around again. Here we go. He's like hiding. And then when we talked about the places to check and he's not there, I was like, okay, stop. Instantly. Call the police.
Instantly. Call the police. Instantly. Story has changed so very much.
Instantly. I'm a black and white kind of guy. So.
Black and white kind of guy. Called instantly. Called instantly. I'll have to review that one. I'll have to review that one just a little bit more because we're kind of running out of time. Let me go to, oops, I don't want you guys seeing that. I don't want to accidentally dox somebody. Hold on here. Let me put myself back up on here. And here. Oh, that's 2 hours. Hold on, let me find the News Nation one. I don't know where the News Nation one is. Is it for Seth or for them? Because hold on. I can't find the News Nation one. But she did a whole one in their own words. So that's really all we're going to have for tonight. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Latrice. I appreciate that. God bless you guys. Thank you guys so much for everything. But that's pretty much what I have so far. You know, at the end of the day, there is a lot of discrepancies. A lot. And you can see the changes in their story. And I can guarantee when things were added was when law enforcement questioned them about dates and times. Because in a situation like this, they are required to provide a very detailed, and I mean detailed, timeline. If she went poop, she needs to put it on that timeline. You get how detailed it needs to be? So they have to detail all this. So when things had holes in it and law enforcement questioned, they made statements. They came online. They told the world those statements. They needed to corroborate and keep moving this fence post. They start out vague and they start filling in the holes. And as they're filling in the holes, as what they told law enforcement, they're coming to the public and informing them. And you start seeing those critical changes. They're not realizing how much their story is changing because their mind's not like that. They're just keep filling in the holes. People on the outside looking in are hearing these major changes in their story. So now they may look back and say, oh crap, we effed up. But while they're doing it, they think that they're doing everything the right way. They're doing this, they're doing that, and they don't realize they're digging themselves into a deeper hole. So that's really what I think has happened. Where is Sebastian? Where's Sebastian Rogers? Where was Katie? Where was Chris? Did anybody know or see them in and around the date and time that Sebastian disappeared? It is my belief that Friday, Saturday, or Sunday is one of the dates that Chris decided to leave to go back to get his camper. And I'm trying to hone in still, even weeks later, what specific date he went back to get his camper. If anybody knows the answer to that, please provide me that answer with the receipts. Like if he was on an interview, tell me the interview. If you have the date and time, like the timestamp where he's saying it, that would be really beneficial. But I'm trying to find out when he left because that's going to be critical in additional research when I'm boots on the ground to kind of hone in on where he could have been, like to stop for gas, just to get a pulse on where he could have went that night. So that really is everything that we got going on. I want to thank everybody for coming. Please don't forget on your way out to give me a thumbs up if you learned something tonight or things were put in a little bit better picture for you to understand the flow of everything. And if you have any questions, don't forget to hit me up at bullhornbetty@gmail.com. If you have information that might lead to the whereabouts of Sebastian Rogers, please call 1-800-TVI-FIND. If it's something you do not have firsthand knowledge or secondhand knowledge of, and you just want to relay the information, you can reach out to Tony Mathis, or you can reach out to me. Anything that I see that I think is important, I forward over to Tony for review, and then he does whatever he does with it if it's important or it's something that law enforcement needs to see. But I always send it to him. So if you guys are just worried or don't know whether to send it to law enforcement, don't give me the information, but you can clarify the information and I'll tell you whether you probably should go ahead and just turn it in. If it's something I don't know about, you might have to send it to me so I can send it to Tony, or you can always reach out to Tony. He's on Messenger. But anyways, this was kind of a long-winded live. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys go get some sleep. Good night. We'll see you mañana. Have a great night. God bless. Try to find something for you to go out with. We'll go out with this.